Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? This is number one chief rock in each universe, main man, Uncle Freezie. I'm joined by the YouTube personality that needs no introduction. She's got the hottest up and coming Knicks channel in the business, has the
Appreciate that.
dopest conversations in the business with her panel, right? And just really quick, I want to shout out her panel really quickly for inspiring and continuing and pushing along the conversations. Y'all know who everybody is. Jeff, I am Jarrell, Staffadan when he not working none of his 19 job. AJ, the delusional Nick, J Boogie, and ladies and gentlemen, give us a few minutes of your lunchtime break so that I can chop it up with the queen of Knicks Universe, BK Steph. What's good? What's good, boss lady?
I'm good. I'm good. Always a pleasure. Sorry I couldn't make it yesterday, but I'm glad we were able to make it up today.
Oh man, I'm sorry about being late, man. I'm so behind schedule. I'm probably gonna might be working late on a Friday.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm kind of ready for preseason training camp. Like these are the dog days of content creation for me. I know for you, you got like 100 topics and you can't wait for these lulls in the season so you
I
could
got
dive deep.
right.
I
Yeah.
know, I know, I know. But for me, it's just not always easy to come up with content. So I'm glad to this week is your week.
Well, you do a great job at it. For one, let me congratulate you on the newsletter. So for those that don't know about the newsletter, geez, is it the 70s still? I'm still in the 70s. The newsletter. For those that don't know about the newsletter, be sure to subscribe to
Yes.
Queen Bee's newsletter. It is fire. It is fire. I guess it's one of your um, many talents. One of the talents we don't know about. When I read it, I get the vibe of a Life magazine with some Knicks sprinkled in. You remember Life
Yeah,
magazine back in the day?
yeah.
Yeah, you see,
It's not still around.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think, but who reads magazines now unless you like at an
Right.
appointment?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I
And
mean, I think it's an opportunity to just share a bit more of myself outside of basketball. And a lot of times when you're hosting a panel, for me, I always try to find space for my for myself. But the more you have audio podcasts, the more I have a newsletter, the more I can just let the other panelists rock because my
right,
ideas are out there already. And sometimes when you say something or you listen to yourself or other podcasts, other it brings up things, and a newsletter is just a way to kind of get those things out because if it's not the topic of a panel, how you going to bring that up? You know what I mean? So it
right.
just gives me an opportunity to muse a little,
Yeah, yeah. Opine some.
opine some. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you have the random thoughts.
Right,
When you have the random thoughts, you can kind of take your time during the week and think about that random thought, and
right,
then put the pen to paper.
right.
So there are a few that I listen to, and no disrespect. I mean, read, but no disrespect to others.
Mm-hmm.
I read the Knicks Film School newsletter
Yes,
occasionally,
yes.
and I read Mark Stein occasionally. But I think you are on the way to being one of the best at that. And listen,
Wow.
I'm saying that because you're the homie, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
jealous because I've been doing it first. I started doing it first, and I feel like you're better than me at it. So there's a little bit of
Uh,
friendly jealousy there. Like, dang,
yeah.
I should just jump in and just be better than everybody. So yeah, so for cats like
Uh,
me, we got to step our game up. You know,
Yeah,
you know.
I got to step it up too. I got to find an editor. Editing takes the most time, and then when you read it after you release it, you notice still some grammatical errors, and that could have been said, more succinctly.
Differently.
And Was that a new paragraph? Was that actually a new, like all these types of things? So I
All
think
those types of things.
if
Yeah.
I get an editor, it's gonna make it easier for me.
Right. Well, the thing about editing is it's like sending your kids off to school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You like, do I really trust this person with my, you know
That's
what I'm
true.
saying?
They come
So
back because sometimes you want a little slang and sometimes you want a little,
right,
you're right. And it comes back all perfect.
perfect.
And it's not your voice. It's not
Right,
your voice.
right. It's because sometimes you want that dramatic effect,
Right.
right? Yeah. Sometimes you want the thought to end abruptly so that they could get that feeling that you get. You know what I
Right.
mean? And also sometimes writing in the Queen's English doesn't really describe how we feel out here on the street, so
Correct.
or how we feel out and about. So
Correct.
there's that to it also, but
Right.
we'll get
It's a
there.
trade-off. It's a
Yeah,
trade-off. Yeah.
We'll get there. So to all my Blorange Tears family, look at Uncle Freezie, no shirt and tie today. No shirt and tie today. Queen Bee, I don't know if you know anything about being down south, but
Yeah.
down south, our Southerners like stuff like shirt and tie, and they
Yeah.
like for you to say stuff like yes, ma'am, no, sir.
Yeah.
Down south,
That's where I'm at now.
yeah, they kind of
Rural
enjoy.
South.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
There's a difference.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference. There's like a difference of time slows down type difference. You feel
Correct.
me? You feel me? Like if
Yep.
you in the city, sometimes you feel like things moving so fast. And then down south, there are places where you feel like the clock done fell asleep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There are some
Like
things like, yeah,
it changes. Like yesterday, I had to cancel the show because I needed to go to Trader Joe's, which is an hour and 15 minutes away.
and
And I'm like, me and Freezy get on. We probably don't get off till 2. Then I
right,
gotta drive an hour, and then I gotta get my feet done. Now I'm gonna have to cancel. So yeah,
we
that's
got,
just the rural South. Now, if you're in Atlanta, that's different. Whole
yeah,
Foods,
that's different.
Trader Joe's is right there.
Yeah, it's still an hour away. It's just one is on wide open highway, and then
Right,
the other is in
right.
traffic.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
That's true.
The
That's
other
true.
is in traffic, bumper to bumper, people looking in your car. You know what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying? But yeah, so it's been a relatively quiet off season, Queen Bee,
Yeah.
and for that reason, I think the Knicks are going to be NBA final hopefuls because they had and notice I'm trying to say it in a way where I don't get people all pumped up in September about some false hope and all that stuff. What I'm saying is I think there'll be Eastern Conference champion contenders, right? And I think the team right now is better than a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference. And I think the reason why we don't get credit for that straight away is because you have to be about it and not talk about it. And so since
Right.
we are not there yet, a lot of people can't see it because we hadn't done it yet. Right. But I've been watching basketball a long time. And I'm here to tell you this is the most balanced a Knicks roster I think I've ever seen. Where you have a great front court player, a great back court player, a great bench, up and coming young talent, and veterans off the bench that play a certain role and they know that role. I can't remember when the Knicks have been this balanced of a team where you don't have a glaring hole. And so when I say that out loud, people will say something random to me like, well, what about the backup power forward spot? If your problem is backup power forward, then in my mind, you really don't have no problems. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, I think we may have to start thinking about what type of contract extension Tom Thibodeau is going to get for actually helping us get to this spot, and what type of contract extension Leon Rose is going to get for help getting us to this spot.
Can I just say something about the balance of the roster? I think the way you framed it, that's one way to look at balance.
Okay.
Another way to look at balance is balance of skill set.
Okay.
So we definitely have scorers in Randall and Brunson,
Yeah.
guys who could just get their own shot.
Okay.
The shooting, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful Grimes takes the next step, because that was, to me, part of the lack of balance last season. Not
Right.
having those consistent shooters. We had guys who can shoot. That's not what I'm saying. We have guys who can shoot, but guys where you can count on, unless they have a bad game, for the most part, our open shot is going down.
Right.
Right. And so I'm hoping there's more balance in that department, because that makes our offense much more lethal when you got a
Right.
Randall and a Brunson, and then off of those guys, they're creating shots for players who can actually knock it down. So I'm hopeful with IQ. I'm hopeful with Grimes. I'm hopeful with DiVincenzo, and we'll see with RJ Barrett. I just don't see RJ Barrett as a shooter. So I'm not going to lie and say I'm hopeful. And that's not me being down on him. I just don't think that's his thing. I don't think that's his thing. So I think that's another way to balance out the roster. And we'll see if we're there. Um, and I think having a scoring wing would help balance the roster as
Okay.
well. But again, this is a different type of balance than what you were talking about. This is more like a skill set balance. So we
Right.
shall see. We
Right.
shall see.
You know what that sounds like to me?
Mhm.
It sounds like to me that your 14-room mansion has a cobblestone driveway instead of a brick driveway. That's what it
I
sounds
don't.
like to me.
No, I think shooting and having a defensive wing, I think that's real. I don't think that's the difference, but like you're saying, oh, that's luxury. I
Yeah.
think shooting is a necessity.
We have it though. And
I,
so
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we do. We only added one player, Freezy, so we're counting on DiVincenzo being what we think he's going to be, and we're counting on Grimes taking another step, and we're counting on quickly being not the quickly in the beginning of the season, not the quickly in the playoffs, but the quickly for most of the regular season.
right.
So I don't know if I'm ready to say we have it, as much as I'm willing to say I'm pretty hopeful.
Um I'm gonna say this to that. Not in rebut, but in compliment, right? I'm gonna say once the Knicks figured out that Cam Reddish is a bum, and once they figured out that you can't have Evan Fournier on the floor in certain situations, and once they figured out that Miles McBride was raw, even though he's talented, he's
Right.
still super raw. They got into a groove,
Yeah.
right? And so with that said, now that you have that information, Cam Reddish is gone, Obi is gone, for all intents and purposes. Evan Fournier is gone,
Right.
right? And now you have Dante DiVincenzo in replacement of those Fournier, all those scrap auxiliary minutes, right? Those minutes where you're like, Miles McBride is playing Fournier, Derrick Rose, for all of them guys, all of those auxiliary minutes. DiVincenzo will have all of those and more, right? Like the OB dues, all those minutes will be reconfigured where Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart and Grimes and Quickly and maybe even RJ will share a minutes pool, right? Because we know Brunson's going to get all his minutes, right?
Right.
Whatever minutes Brunson wants, he's going to get those minutes,
Right.
right?
Randall,
And
Randall too, I
and
believe.
Randall also. I think the upgrade without upgrading is playing smaller at times, right? Playing smaller, no fourth big man, right? Not having a fourth big man, I think is gonna move the Knicks into the 21st century. Because last year, when we watched it, the last 2 or 3 years, when we watched teams, no teams was playing 4 and 5 big men.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And we were
Mhm.
playing. There were times where we might play Mitch and Hartenstein and Obi and Randall, and then playing Josh Hart with some minutes at the four, or RJ with some minutes at the four. Now that you remove that and just go with a 3 big man rotation, modern NBA, get DiVincenzo and those guys on the floor. Basically, I think what we're gonna do is run more often and get easier shots so that these cats like RJ Barrett can play to what they do best, as opposed to RJ Barrett's and the Quentin Grimes of the world always having to get all their points and some kind of inundated half court offense that doesn't allow for free movement and creativity.
I'll say this though. I agree with you about going small, but modern day basketball, when they go small, they usually have a small forward playing a four, not a shooting guard.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? So I don't know about that one. And that
Well,
three,
the
it
reason
can
why I
usually
said that
shoot.
though, well,
Mhm.
the reason why I said that though is because for some reason I don't know why it baffles me too. Josh Hart identifies as a power forward. In
Her
his
had him
mind,
playing.
he's Josh Barkley.
Did you see the game this morning?
No, I didn't
Hart
see it.
had him on Vucevic. I'm like, is that Hart getting this preparation for the for the
I'm
upcoming
telling you, I
season? He
think
was
the
guarding
dude,
Vucevic.
thinks he's a power forward
Mm.
at six. I think sometimes they have him listed at 6'5". I think he's probably like 6'4" and some change. So at six, let's call him 6'5", 205. You're a power forward, Josh Hart. No,
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 no.
no.
But that's the point I'm saying. If we want to play, I'm all for having a swing small forward, power forward, so that we can go small. But who's that guy? It's not RJ Barrett. He's not stretching. He's not stretching the defense. Who is that guy?
But he can take power forwards off the dribble. So he can't. He's not a shooter. While he's not a shooter, he can take. He does have guard skills. The one thing we have to give RJ Barrett for, we don't like. RJ Barrett has above average handles. We don't like the way it looks because of his body, because of the way he moves. But he's definitely RJ Barrett can get to the rim anytime he wants. That's the one thing we can't deny RJ. Like, what's the thing he does best? He gets to the rim,
I
right?
don't think it's because of his handle though. I think it's because of his strength and he's bullying him way down there. But I get what you're saying. He would be able to take power forwards off the
Right.
dribble.
But Alonzo Mourning is strong too, but he's not taking people off the dribble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's
You
a
got to
straight
give.
line dribble though, Freezy.
Is it all
Not
the
a
time?
handle. When you're talking about a handle, it's a little bit. I mean, I think his handle is adequate for him to get where he needs to go. But he not taking nobody off the dribble,
You talking
rocking
about
back
being
and forth
saucy?
through yeah, nah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
No, he not. He not
it's
saucy.
a regular dribble that gets him
I'm gonna give him
where he
credit for
needs to go.
handles. I got to
Okay,
give him credit for handles
all right,
because I think that the thing is there. Like he doesn't have to look like Kyrie. Kyrie looks like Kyrie
right. He
because
doesn't have to look
Kyrie is not a big strong guy like RJ,
right.
right? But
I agree with that.
RJ can handle the ball and get by his man against any defender, no matter what defender you put out there. Was a little guy, a big guy, all that stuff. And to his credit and to his detriment, right? He can do that, right? But the playmaking part of his game is not there, right? So he's not a playmaker. He's good at getting to the rim, but he's not great at making plays for himself and others. And that's the reason why it looks so bizarre and crazy. Like you
Well,
can get there, dudes are wide open. Why are you not passing?
right. Well, he's gotten better. I've seen some of that in the playoffs, and I've seen some of that with Team Canada. So let's see. Let's see if it continues.
Yeah, yeah. So what type of contract extension are you giving Tom Thibodeau? Because you got to give it to him. You got to give him an extension, right? The whole Johnny Bryant thing, we may as well forget about that. That's not, especially if the Knicks make the Eastern Conference Final, or if they make the second round again. The whole Johnny Bryant coaching waiting thing is out the window.
Right. He has 1 year left. I would say 3 year extension. So that would be 4 years.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm in this mindset where I think I want to give him 4 years and just make it 5 more years. 5 more years with Tibbs. Because I wanna set a precedent. I don't want it to be like the way it was before Tibbs, right? I don't want it to be every 2 years we searching for a head coach, and I know it's been more than 2 years with Tibbs,
Right.
right?
Without
But
consideration of the roster.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, in the past, I'm talking about.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And with Leon Rose, I'm matching the coach and the front office together. I'm making them a package. I'm giving them 4 years, and then that way they'll have 5 more years left to dream this impossible dream that they're dreaming.
So the front
Of
office you have tied with Tibbs.
Yep,
Same.
I have them together. I have them together, and then if I got to get rid of one, I'm getting rid of both of them. So I mean, yeah, because I don't want to fire the front office and then promote Tibbs to be the front office guy, right? And then I don't want to, have to fire Tibbs and then the front office bring in another guy just like Tibbs, a younger version of Tom Thibodeau. So I don't want to do that. For instance, I don't want Leon Rose to have to fire Tibbs and then bring in Quinn Snyder, who's who's, who's basically, what I'm saying, the microwave down, the left in the dryer too long version of Tom Thibodeau. We don't want to bring in that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So, are you okay with Tom Thibodeau getting a contract extension?
I am.
Okay,
I am. You got to look at the results.
right.
You may not like everything he does. You may not like his coaching philosophy. You may want him to do things differently, but you can't argue with the results.
When you can't argue
Um,
with the results.
yeah.
And you,
So
and
I'm
you
okay with that. And same thing with the front office. I haven't liked everything the front office has done.
I don't think they liked I don't think they liked the result of everything they've done. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, that's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how you've done something and you're like, oh crap, I could have did that better. You know what I'm saying? I would like for them to be in that space, but at the same time, it's one of those things. As long as they constantly self-evaluate, self-correct,
Right.
always look to improve,
Right.
then we shouldn't have a problem with them. But my thing is with Tibbs is this. My thing is with Tibbs is this, and this is where I think most Knicks fans stand on Tom Thibodeau, right? They may not like the way he does stuff, but you can't knock the fact that he's a good NBA coach. Sometimes he'll do stuff in a way is maddening to you, right? Like begrudgingly playing Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier together. We know he didn't want to play them together,
Right.
but he played them together. But as soon as one of them got cooking, he snatched them out to prove a point, right? So you like Tibbs. Why you keep snatching Kemba Walker out after he getting triple doubles and all that stuff just for the sake of your beloved defense? Can we not just maybe acquiesce to the personnel that we have? Like can we sacrifice some of your beloved defense for offense since this team may have the personnel to be an offensive team? No, we're just gonna make Kemba Walker guard Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're just gonna go with that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if I like them, but I appreciate them.
Oh, I like him.
Okay.
I like Tom Thibodeau. Um, and part of it is a lot of what we complain about, you're gonna get with any coach.
Yep.
When we did the I Cram to Understand You, Tom Thibodeau episode, I read some.
Excellent show, by the way. Excellent,
Thank you,
excellent idea. Excellent idea.
thank you. I read some quotes, and you would have thought that these fans, I got it off of Reddit. You would have thought that these were Knicks fans talking about Tom Thibodeau. No, these were Golden State fans talking about Steve Kerr.
Right.
These were Miami Heat fans talking about Spoelstra. So no matter what coach you get, the fans are going to complain about the same thing. They say the same thing about Spo. Spo is too regimented.
Right.
He can only coach defense. He can't coach offense.
Right.
The offense is like they're in the playground.
Right.
you know, Steve Kerr, he knows how to coach really good players, but he doesn't know how to use his rotations properly. This is what they were saying about Steve Kerr.
Yep.
So I think no matter what coach you get, there's going to be things you're not going to like.
Right.
There's going to be things you wish that coach would do differently. You're going to be able to pinpoint mistakes after the fact anyway.
After the fact.
But you can't argue with the results. So Nick Nurse is not going to automatically be better. He may
Right.
do some things more in line with what you think should be done, but
Right.
it doesn't automatically mean the results are going to get better.
Right.
So I'm okay with Tibbs. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NBA, and I think other NBA coaches would tell you that to a man.
Right.
And I like the fact that him and Leon Rose has a relationship because you know what? That's why Spo was able to keep his job for so long
Right.
because he had a relationship with Pat Riley. You look at Spoelstra's record, there was a few seasons where he could have gotten fired.
Right.
But because of his relationship with Pat Riley, he got the opportunity to
And the
come back.
organization was on the same page throughout. That's the
Correct.
key.
Same thing with Mike Malone. They lost in the first round. How many years before they won this championship?
Right. Right.
Because of his relationship with the front office, he had the opportunity to work through that. He could
Right.
have been fired any number of
And
times.
when you look at those records, though, Queen B with Eric Spoelstra, when
Mhm.
you look at those records, right? Eric Spoelstra wasn't the reason why they lost all those games. If they had a different coach, that team might have been in the lottery. Eric Spoelstra kept that team afloat. Even when you look at them bad records, they could have been 20 games worse.
But you could say the same thing for Thibodeau.
Yeah, I'm saying
That's
the
the
same thing
that's
for
the
Thibodeau.
yeah that's the point I'm trying to make. But if some front office personnel, in my opinion, they don't look at that.
Right.
Next thing you know, the coach is gone because they didn't have a good season. I'm like, did you look at the roster? Did you look at the injuries? Did you,
Right.
Again, this
Right.
is me from the outside. I'm okay with Thibodeau. I'm glad he has that relationship for Leon Rose. It's okay for a team to not be successful one season and have to underachieve, I should say, and get the opportunity to play through it and work through it and come back the next season and be better.
So
And
you're
because
okay with Tibbs
Mhm.
getting Monty Williams type money?
I don't think Monty Williams should have. That was a special situation now.
Right.
That was a special situation. So no. Well, first of all, I don't care. That's Dolan's money. It doesn't count against the salary cap.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
they
Right.
want to give him $10 million a year, I'm okay with it. Whatever they give Tibbs.
Right.
But I do think Monty Williams, that was a special situation. Like they
Um,
wasn't going to get him to come to Detroit.
Nah, he wasn't going to no Detroit. Why he going to? Why? I mean, and shout out to my cousin Jay. My cousin Jay does a podcast too, right? My cousin Jay, man. My cousin Jason, man. Shout out to him. That is doing a podcast too. And I'm like, yo, y'all overpaid that man because nobody wants to come to Detroit. Who wants to go to Detroit? Nobody, right? That's why they paid that man that money. But the thing is with Tibbs though. The thing is with Tibbs is who really wants to coach the Knicks? I don't see coaches beating down the door, breathing down, Tom Thibodeau neck. I don't see a big coaching pool at Penn Station waiting for Tibbs to slip on a banana peel. For the most part, over the last few years, high level coaches have been turning down or not even putting their name into for consideration with the Knicks head coach. For that reason, I think you got to pay Tibbs. I think you may have to give Tibbs that Monty Williams type money, and then plus all the stuff that comes with the Knicks job it can swallow you up. I think you gotta pay Tibbs that money just because the Knicks
That's
head
10
coach
million a year, right?
12 million a year, I think. It's 72 over 6, I think is what it is. Wow. Yeah. I think you gotta give Tibbs that money, even if it's just 3 years, 36, like you mentioned in 3 years. I think you got to give him the 36. You know what I'm saying? Because the Knicks head coaching job is not like other places across the NBA landscape. I mean, we criticize everything. One night we were so petty. We were criticizing the coaches' shirts. Why they wearing the black shirts? You can't even see the logo. That's how crazy it is for Knicks fans. Right. That's just how crazy it is for Knicks fans because we're so passionate. And for that reason, it's the same reason why I think Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, when it's time to extend them, I think they're getting the max, right? And it's the same reason why Leon Rose, when they get their extension, I think they're gonna be the highest paid front office in the NBA if they are not right now.
You don't think a lot of it is going to depend on this season? Because they could have just extended them already.
Dolan extending them?
Yeah. I mean, you don't think, it's going to depend on what they do this season?
I think what we do this season is already set. Right. I think we're a second round team, and anything above or below that only accentuates what we were already going to be anyway. Right. So for instance, if Tibbs doesn't get this team to the second round, I think a lot of the fan base are going to be calling for his job.
No doubt about it. But it's not just
Right.
Tibbs, though, because
Yeah,
everybody wants to say it's the coach, but not the players. Like
right.
we lost Game 6 because of Tibbs, not because the team shot. I don't know what they shot
Terribly.
in Game 6, but I hear you.
Yeah.
But you should be able to tease that out. If you watch a team for an entire season, you could be able to tease out how much of it was the coach and them not playing for the coach and the coach not making the adjustments, and how much of it was the players not performing. You should be able to tease it out.
So and I know sometimes people, I know Knicks fans will talk about the coach not making adjustments. Queen Bee, both of us played in high school, right? I think you told me that you played, right? Yeah. I think you told me that you was a mega star in the New York area, right?
I don't know about that, but I was pretty good.
Yeah, whatever. You in the Hall of Fame, right?
I am.
So you was a star, and okay, all right. Humble pie on a Friday afternoon. Okay, all right. So I was pretty good, but not great, right? Okay. Here's the thing. We both of us know when the coach is not making an adjustment or when he's having faith in his players, right? The fans see an adjustment not being made. That's all they see. Right. See, the coach knows that say if you give Queen Bee the ball in a certain spot, you know what I'm saying, she money, right? But the fans see, oh, she done missed 3 in a row from right there. Why he don't change everything? Take out the game. But the coach doesn't see you in the gym make 20 in a row, 25 in a row, maybe even 30 in a row from the same spot. So he got faith in you, but the fans see you miss 3 in a row and they want an adjustment. Right. So
the coach will be like, she getting a shot. She getting a shot we want her to get. She's just not hitting them.
You're just not hitting it right now. It's not like she can't hit that shot. She practiced that shot all after practice. She worked on that shot for 20 minutes. Her and some assistant coach work on that shot for 20 minutes every time after practice, and in the game she missed 3 in a row. The fans are like, "Take out the game. We need to trade for such and such." Relax, relax. The adjustment has not been made because the coach, in certain instances, has faith in either the system or the player. So sometimes the adjustment is not. Now I know I know a lot of fans are going to say, "Well, we don't have time because it's do or die. Tibbs don't make adjustments and blah blah blah." During the season, when you don't make those adjustments, you kind of got to teach these kids on the fly. Like, this is going to happen in this situation. You got to do such and such and such. Now in the playoffs, where the playoffs are on the line, I do understand what the fans are saying. If he ain't got it, he ain't got it. You can't risk it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But but let's do this. Let's not
Depends
say
on the player though,
it.
because Tibbs comes from that Pat Riley Spoelstra sister. Because somebody said, "Oh, if Randall played for Spo would have took him." No, he ain't.
No,
Spo come from that same system. I'm going down with the guys who got me there.
right. Yep.
He
Yep.
ain't taking him out the game because he missed some shots. That's not happening.
The only difference between Spo and Tibbs is I think Tibbs depends on the Knicks analytics department, maybe more so than Spoelstra does. Spoelstra will use his gut feeling during the game.
Right.
The Knicks analytics department is going to say Randall shooting fadeaway 20-footers off the baseline are a bad shot, even though you remember baseline Randall, his first 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Baseline, that shot off the baseline, that fadeaway 20-footer. The Knicks analytics department is saying, "Yo, no, man, why are you fading away from 20 feet? Just set your feet at 22 feet and shoot the 3." Right? And that drives Knicks fans crazy. They like, why is Randall shooting all these threes? Right? Because for people of and Dre and I broke this thing down. Like, when you look at it, if Randall is going to finish his shot at 22 feet anyway, why not just set his feet at 22 feet and just have him shoot a jump shot?
Right.
So I could understand the analytics part there because a fadeaway miss from 22 feet and I'm sorry, a fadeaway miss from 20 feet and a set shot miss at 22 feet are the same. But the positive is if you make that 20-footer, it's 2 points. If you make that 22-footer, it's 3 points. So you're looking at the risk reward thing. That's why Tibbs is like, no, Randall,
Right.
So, but Spoelstra, on the other hand, is like, okay, Randall, you missed like 3 of them threes in a row. What we're gonna do is high low at the top of the key. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have you at the top of the key. The defense come up top, the double team. We're gonna have RJ Barrett /in beside him, and we're gonna dump that thing down to RJ Barrett at the rim on a smaller guard. And how I know that to be true is I saw Eric Spoelstra do it with Kevin Love and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Kevin Love at the top of the key. Everybody, they know Kevin Love can shoot that 3 a little bit. They zooming out there to Kevin Love, and Jimmy Butler cut in right behind the defense and pinned Josh Hart down low at the rim, or Grimes down low at the rim. And the Bulls did it to us with Vucevic. Vucevic catch that ball at the top of the key. They zoom in, DeMar DeRozan right there in front of the rim, got Grimes on him. But Tibbs won't do that with Randall and RJ Barrett. And I know that sounds like a whole bunch of hubbub.
But we got to get Mitch out of there, though.
Yeah, you got to get Mitch out of there.
You got to get Mitch out of there. There's a lot of things we would be able to do offensively if Mitch wasn't and his guy wasn't hanging in the key. But I want to say this to Julius Blum real quick. Randall didn't have it. Josh didn't have it. So what would I do? Sit them. It's game 6. That's what you would do. And this is what we talked about on the I Cram to Understand You series. Different coaches have different philosophies. So if that's your philosophy, if your main player doesn't have it in game 6, you're going to sit them down. That's your philosophy. But understand that there are some coaches who believe I'm going down with the guys who got me here. And just because they didn't have it up to this point, the next shot can be the shot that turns everything around. So it's just a difference in philosophy. I know plenty of coaches. They're not taking their best player out because they missed some shots. I don't care if it's game 7. He got us here. We going down with that player. And there's other coaches who would make the substitution. There's no right or wrong answer. Right. It's just you being consistent with your philosophy.
Right. Well, two things. For one, Obi Toppin didn't have it either, right? Because I could point out when Obi Toppin was at the free throw line, could have tied the game, and he was so scared in that moment. When I saw Obi's face in that moment, I told I'm trying to remember his screen. It's Greeny, but I told Cover the Spread when Obi went to the free throw line, I was like, hey man, look at him, he's scared. They're gonna get rid of him. Because in this moment, he is scared. Obi is scared. You remember the score was we were down by 2, and Obi shot the first free throw, and that free throw, he begged that free throw to go in, right? And the Knicks are looking like Obi, they were trying to dap him up, and he was just wiping his hands on his. Oh boy! And then he went back, and then he shot the next one, and it looked like a nervous free throw, and I felt like the moment was too big for Obi, right? Right then, I was like, Greeny, yeah, these moments too big for Obi, bro. They're gonna get rid of him, bro. He gone.
Right.
He gone. Because if he that scared in that moment, and Randall ain't playing, this is the moment that you're supposed to be taking the bull by the horns. Like Randall ain't balling, and you the backup. This is where you take his job, or at least take his minutes. But yeah, and then after that, so he missed that free throw, right? He missed that free throw, and then the Heat come down, and Josh Hart leaves Caleb Martin wide open for 3, and then the Heat go up by 4, and we can't catch them. So it's the little things. While we blame Randall, like saying Randall didn't have it, Randall didn't have nothing to do with either one of those plays, right? You know, it's one of the things. And then RJ's defense, even though he shot 1 for 10, man, RJ was scrambling. My thing with RJ is he's just not gonna be consistent across the board. He's trying to be a two-way player, and RJ Barrett doesn't have what it takes in my mind to be a two-way player. He needs to either be an all offensive bucket or give your shots to Grimes and just be a lockdown defender. But RJ Barrett can't do both. When you expect him to shoot the 3 and play make and be a good defender, RJ Barrett, he just not cut out for that. He just not. If I'm Tibbs, I'm sitting RJ down this offseason and saying, hey man, look, you are going to be good at a certain thing, right? Whatever that thing is, we're going to figure it out. But all the other stuff, you're not doing that no more, right? You're not going to be trying to facilitate on offense. We giving those duties to Quentin Grimes and Dante DiVincenzo, or we like RJ. We not letting you're not shooting the 3 no more at all. We gonna give those shots to Quickly and Grimes and DiVincenzo, and you're gonna be a rebounder, defender, energy guy, or vice versa. Or RJ, we want you to be all offense. We might even bring you off the bench. We want you to be all offense. We're gonna give you as many shots as you want. If you come off the bench, you can take as many shots as you want. You're gonna be our 6th man with the greenest green light ever, right? But you're not gonna be out here on an island trying to defend Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna bring in other people to do that for you. RJ, we've seen enough of RJ to know that we know it takes time for you to develop into a two-way player. But in order to be a two-way player, you can't conserve energy on one side of the floor or the other. You got to give it all you got. That's why two-way players get hurt all the time, because they always giving everything they got on both ends. And RJ, if you notice, for the most part, when RJ is hurt, it's usually freak injury hurt. It's never soft injury hurt, soft tissue pull, because he don't exert himself like that on both ends of the floor, in my opinion. I'm saying RJ needs to be all in on one thing in order for him to be great at something. Get something to be great at.
Yeah. Shout out to HB Carlos from Portugal. Appreciate you. And Quiet Money. Everybody else in the chat.
Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to East Flatbush.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Listen, I think the sit down talk with RJ has to include a few things. Number one, you're not going to be our 3rd highest usage player on the team anymore. You're not going to get the 3rd highest shot selections on the team anymore. Anything else you want to add to that conversation, Freezy? You could add to the conversation, but I think it got to start right there.
Well, what are you?
Yeah.
But what are you telling him that other
I
energy
know,
is
I
going?
know, I know, I
What is
know.
that?
That's
What
what I
is that
said.
other?
Whatever you just said is fine. Wherever you just said, I just feel like
No, I'm asking for. I'm just
Mhm.
asking, like tactically, right? Like what else are you going to strategically? What are you asking RJ to do? But and I'm not
Whatever you
asking.
just said, what you just said
So
about
it's
being a defensive player, do
the
whatever.
defensive
Yeah.
rebounder energy guy, but you're not taking all these shots.
Right. Think Justice Winslow, the good
Think,
version.
yeah. I was gonna say Josh Richardson, but yeah, okay.
The good
Same,
version.
same thing, same
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
same thing. Just defense, rebounding. Get your points in
Playmaking.
transition. If you get your points, you get your points off of defense in
Right.
transition, fast break points, dunks, things like that, right? But you can't be the focus of an offense during games.
But let me ask you this though. Do you think that's happening because there just haven't been an alternative? And do you think quickly Grimes, DiVincenzo, whoever it is ready to step in and be the guy who takes the third most shot? Let's not even say usage, takes the third most shots on this team.
That's what things get dicey and
Right.
spicy.
I don't know if we have that guy. Maybe that's why it's been RJ almost by default because we
Right.
haven't had anybody else.
I think it's Tom Thibodeau. In Tom Thibodeau's offense, he's got to have a kamikaze going to the rim.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, in Chicago, in early, it was the Derrick Rose years,
hmm
right? Just going, putting your head down, going straight, barreling to the rim. You know what I'm saying? All the time. Even before RJ was that guy, it was Elfrid Payton. Remember Elfrid Payton used to
hmm
go to the rim all the time.
And
Um,
great at getting there, but
Great at getting.
finishing was
It
was a
was
different story.
it was like a PBS adventure watching Alfred Payton at the rim. It was like, hey, chat, y'all ever watch PBS in like in the afternoons, like 3 o'clock? That's what it was like watching Alfred Payton go to the rim. You know what I'm saying? You never know. You just do. And the bull elephant emerges from the bushes. That's what it was like watching Alfred Payton go to the rim. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is with RJ. I know Tibbs is forcing him to do that, but I think for the development of RJ Barrett, I think RJ Barrett has to pick one thing and do it. For instance, give you an example. If you take the ball out of RJ's hands and force him to be, and y'all be patient with me on this, like I'm going somewhere with it. If Tibbs forces RJ to be a spot up shooter, right? Then RJ Barrett can get incrementally better at that over time. But RJ Barrett, the way RJ Barrett looks as an NBA player, RJ Barrett has a small table. Like chat, y'all ever ate dinner off or ate lunch on a small table? You know how you can't put, you only got limited plates you could put on the table. I think that's RJ Barrett. When you try to put too much on that table, then stuff starts to happen, negatives start to happen. I think that's RJ. RJ, like Julius Randle has a bigger table where he can be an assist guy, a rebound guy, an inside scorer, and a 3-point shooter, but he won't defend. Julius Randle has limits, right? Jalen Brunson has limits also, but RJ Barrett's table is smaller, where RJ Barrett is a goal to the rim guy, and that's it. Scoring. The other thing is scoring transition. RJ Barrett, 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago, RJ Barrett was like second in the NBA in transition points, right? But the Knicks don't run. We don't get out in the floor and run, so we don't take advantage of that. So, it's one of those things. Maybe we need to talk to RJ. Hey, man, listen, you want to score? Get out in transition, create turnovers, get out and run, do that, and then that's where your points come from. And then that way you'll see RJ Barrett's field goal percentage, what I'm saying, increase and
Right.
things of that sort. And that sort too, he'll be more efficient.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're running an offense, though, it's hard to build an offense around one player. You're like, well, this player would benefit in this type of offense, but the majority of our players would probably benefit in this offense. Our best players will benefit in this offense. And you gotta, go with the offense that benefits your best players and or most of the players. And then there are other players that get caught up in that game, like Obi, who could have been better would have been better, I think, in a more run and gun system, maybe even in a motion offense with players willing to pass the ball, because you can have a motion offense all you want, and it'll stop dead in the water if you don't have players willing to move the ball.
Once it gets to that one player, you like,
Right, it'll stop. And then RJ Barrett probably benefit in a more open style. But I don't know if Brunson and Randall, I think the turnovers would go up exponentially um, with this team. But
I think in the
we'll
motion
see.
offense, RJ Barrett will be the ball stopper. In my mind, because it's not like he can't pass. He's a good passer. Is he a willing passer though?
Right. Because if you see something like you saw more of his playmaking ability in his first and second season, how does that just go away?
I don't think it does.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden in the playoffs, it's back.
Right.
So you're
Right.
right. It may be more about willingness.
Yeah, I just think it's a willing. They need to sit him down, because if you noticed, I'm not going to say his defense was great, but it wasn't porous like it looked at times in the regular season, where he looked like the Station 3 turnstile. Like everybody jumping the turnstile. Ain't nobody putting no coin nowhere. Ain't nobody swiping card nowhere. Everybody get RJ. They just going by RJ, right? But my thing is so I'm gonna say this is gonna sound disrespectful to RJ. I love RJ Barrett. Everybody knows he's my favorite Knick, right? That's my favorite Knick player. But RJ needs to get more slender. For one, he needs to get more focused on the start of the season. Two, like stop focusing on individual goals and start focusing on team goals. Because we know every season, it's been 4 years at the start of every season, RJ Barrett starts the season off with a slump. Every season.
Yeah.
Focusing on his game. And I'm just gonna work on my floater right here. How you got a floater with no float? Right? RJ Barrett has a push shot. How you got a floater and you're not getting off the floor? That's a granny shot. Shout out to all the grannies out there. I'm not just being disrespectful to the grannies, but yeah, RJ Barrett needs to get more slender. When I look at RJ, I think RJ is in that neighborhood like 225. I think RJ needs to get in that neighborhood of like 215, in that neighborhood, so you can take advantage of your explosiveness, RJ. The little bit that you have, you can use it, right? Because athleticism, listen, two of the greatest players to ever play NBA basketball or three of them, three of the most unathletic players to ever play are three of the greatest players to ever play. You talk about Luka Doncic, subpar athlete. Yeah. You're talking about Jokic, subpar athlete. Larry Bird, maybe the worst athlete of those three, right? So athleticism is not a thing, you know what I'm saying, if you can sharpen your skills.
Right. You can't have both.
Right.
If you're not, your skills got to be on point. And when you look at Jalen Brunson, who's not very athletic, he tuned up that handle. Right. Something that's going to help you get from point A to point. Or you got the herky jerky and the footwork. You got to have something that throws the defender off balance.
Manu Ginobili, you remember Ginobili?
Yeah. Yeah. Dirk Nowitzki. These are all guys who, he had the height. He can kind of shoot over you.
Yeah. And Dirk focused on one thing. And there was a time where Dirk was a scorer, a rebounder. And the older he got, he focused just more on shooting. You know what I'm saying? Dirk was that guy that could just, you know what I'm saying, that was a deadly shooter from certain spots on the floor.
Right.
But RJ needs to be this thing of RJ being a superstar. I think we kind of need to reel that in some.
Nobody's saying that.
No. You're not saying that. I'm talking about RJ thinking that.
Oh, RJ thinking it.
Thinking that. That's what I'm
correct. Correct.
So the thing about RJ being a superstar, I think we need to reel that in and have him focus more on team stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen by now that at the rim, RJ Barrett has this thing called the yips, right? When he's at the rim, he's bumped a little bit and he's still in the air looking at the rim. And from 1 feet away, he'll still miss. And you're like, RJ, come on, that little bump got you off balance so much. You missed from 1 feet and you're 6'7".
And 290. Now let me stop.
And then
About 240, whatever he is.
97. Yeah, come on, RJ. Come on, RJ.
Let's see if he gets better. But I agree with you. He got to figure out what is it that he does best and perfect that. People trying to add things to your game, you could get better by just perfecting what you already do. You don't have to
I
add
disagree with
anything
you,
else.
VP.
Really?
Yeah, I disagree with you. But not because I agree with your intent, right? But with RJ, I don't think he has to figure it out. I think somebody got to sit down and tell him. Because you ever notice, like when you leave like some of your friends or people you know to their own devices and let them figure it out, they never figure it out. Somebody got to step in and tell them. Like, hey, big dog, you're not Zach LaVine. RJ, you going to the rim like you Zach LaVine, bro? You not Zach LaVine at the rim. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to say, hey, RJ, listen, bro, listen, no disrespect. No disrespect. Right? But you're not a Zach LaVine type athlete at the rim. You're not a Manu Ginobili type finisher at the rim. Right? Because how he gets to the rim, RJ can get to the rim however he feels like getting there. But his finishing, you shouldn't be getting blocked by Kyle Lowry in the playoffs, bro. Kyle Lowry blocked your shot? That should send like alarms of flags. Some people should be waving flags like, hey, hello. You getting blocked by Kyle Lowry? I mean, come on. Jimmy Butler swatting your shot, RJ. That don't send alarm bells off. And I understand RJ is one of those people that's mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things happen and it don't bother him, or it doesn't look like it bothers him, because deep down I think it does bother him. I think RJ is like a volcano, like the lava is boiling deep inside. There is fire in there. I think RJ does have that mentality, like, yo, whenever I get it, I'm gonna just destroy everything, right? But the thing is, though, is when you're in that mindset, sometimes somebody got to sit them down. Like, RJ, have you ever considered a pull up or a real floater before you get to the rim? Have you ever considered a change of pace, like maybe not doing the same 3 moves every time you go to the rim? Have you ever considered not being predictable when you get at the rim?
But his skill set is, I mean, I'm not sure what you expected from, for RJ Barrett. For me, come on, Sirius B. Come on. I appreciate you rocking with us, though. Let's see. Freezie. Let's see. In a perfect world.
Sirius B say we wrong. I guess Sirius B say we wrong.
But he had an opportunity to be first option. He had an opportunity to be second option.
Right.
You know what I mean? He had his opportunities. Come on. He's gone into his 5th year. That first year.
That's a throwaway year. I don't, man. Yeah, that first year.
Yeah, but there are some players who showed themselves in that first year that, okay, all right, I think we got something here,
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear anything about RJ not getting opportunities. He has the third. His usage rate is close to Brunson. He takes 1 less shot than Jalen Brunson.
Right.
The ball is in his hands a lot.
Right.
So if he has star potential, he also has star opportunity on the Knicks because he has the ball in his hands a lot. So, we shall see with RJ Barrett, coming back. What's the best version of RJ Barrett? I think in a perfect world, when he's running with that first team, he's a catch and shoot guy who can hit down those open looks that's generated off those two guys.
Right.
And when he's in that second team, the ball is in his hands more. He's going to the basket and he's playmaking. That's the perfect version of RJ Barrett in my mind. But he's not a catch and shoot shooter. You know what I mean?
No, he's not a catch and shoot shooter.
So I don't know. We'll see. But I agree with you. It's up to the Tibbs and the coaching staff to define his role.
To sit him, they got to sit him. And when I say sit him down, I'm talking about him and his support system, his agent, his trainer. All of them have to be on the same page. RJ, listen. Listen, you're not going to be Jimmy Butler. Okay? You're not. Right? What we want you to do right now is in the offseason, build up to be a contributor on the team. Now, we're not guaranteed to snatch your starting role, right? We value you, but we would like to reserve the right to, if you don't do a certain thing, taking your starting job is on the table. You know what I'm saying? So you give, you don't crush a young kid's confidence. You give him pathways. You choose, right? If you want to be featured, we only have room to feature you as this. Now, if you want to be featured, we'll feature you in this role. Right. We're not going to feature you in whatever role you feel like you want to play. That's out, right? The rules of engagement have changed, right? You know, it's one of them things where when you first got here, we told you this, but now we're aspiring to be NBA champions. And in order for you to be featured in certain stuff, you have to do what it takes for teams to win NBA championships. And if you're not that, and if you're frustrated by this conversation, then we'll be more than glad to trade you into a place where you can do that. But keep in mind, we're going to be looking for a player that fits the role that we want. So either you can fill that role, right? Or if you don't like that option, we can trade you for a guy that fills that role that we want out of that position. Queen, but you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair, but I think I don't see Tibbs having that conversation with RJ Barrett, but I think it's fair.
Okay.
And I think it's fair and I think it's necessary. What I will say, though, is Tibbs, who's a stat guy, I think he sees it, which is why as soon as Josh Hart got here, RJ minutes decreased. He
Right.
stopped closing games.
Right.
Now we bringing in DiVincenzo. He's going to take some minutes from everybody, but I think he's going to take a little minutes from RJ. RJ may not average 30 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
He might not average 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So I do think they see it. I think they're dealing with it by bringing in other people who can compete for his minutes, and so you're not so reliant on him.
Right.
I don't know though if they'll sit him down and say this is your new role.
See, and you know what? And you know what? That's when individuals have undefined boundaries, you never know what you're gonna get. And so in organization, you just can't have people in organization with undefined roles because you get chaos. And so if that's what they want, if they continue down that road, that's what they're going to get for RJ from RJ. It's even like even though you have one of the dopest channels going on YouTube, and I feel like I have one of the dopest channels going on YouTube. When we go back to Nothin But Knicks and kick it with Sam, we let Sam be the, you know what I'm saying? We let Sam do his thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know what I'm saying, and coalesce around, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things like, say I get it. Now, of course, y'all know Uncle Freezie is arrogant. Y'all know I feel like I'm the number one chief rocker. But the thing is with that though is we set like certain boundaries in order for the team to be better. So even like if we do like a show with Sim, we understand we want Nothin But Knicks to be better. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type thing with RJ. RJ, are you a team player or are you in search of individual accolades?
That's a good point.
So, Queen B, that's all I got. I got to get out of here and shoot a commercial. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So, guys, I'm going to be spamming the life insurance awareness theme this month. Queen B, I'm going to work on that this afternoon. I'm going to have cameras in my face and saying scripts. Hey, September. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, Queen B, what else, what do you have for the rest of the week?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything for the rest of the week. I'm working on, the newsletter. I've been in maybe like 2 weeks. I've been off, and then I'll probably do it. I'm thinking about what my next series is going to be on the podcast, and I think I'm going to start focusing on each player and the 3 things I'm looking forward from them for next season. Something like that. I'm still thinking about it as far as what I want to do podcast wise. The newsletter will be back Tuesday, around Tuesday, and as far as
Tuesday-ish.
Tuesday-ish,
Yeah.
right? And then as far as Dope Soul, Thursday we'll do the Just Nicking It show, and I really want to get this Dope to the Soul conversations off the ground, where we really start talking about conversations. Remember, ESPN, they may still do it. Outside the Lines needs to just talk about, sports stories that wasn't about the on court stuff, but off the court. Yeah, that's something I want to get going. I haven't found a good topic though.
You gotta get some help.
Yeah,
because you can't do all these things. There are only one of my one was somebody I worked with told me, and it was so funny the way that she said it. Right, she was like, "Yo, Uncle Freezie, it's only 27 hours in a day, right? You can only get so much stuff done. You need to get some help. You're gonna have to hire somebody." And I was like, "Yeah, that said, just like somebody that is a controller, like myself." And like Queen B, like to do everything by themselves. Don't want to kind of pass along certain tasks to others.
I don't mind, but for me, I just want guys I want it to be organic, and I want guys to want to do it. So I don't want to be like, all right, Ajay, once a week I need you to do a podcast. All right, Jeff, this week, I want it to happen organically. Guys who will come to the show and they're interested in,
and pushing for
and pushing forward. I don't want anybody to feel like forced.
Like they wanted to feel like a job.
Right.
Yeah. So no, right. I get that. I get that. But
if there's anybody out there who want to do your own show,
holla.
Hit me up.
Holla.
Hit me up. There's definitely room.
The only qualification though, and I'll say this for Queen B, and she won't say it, but I'm gonna tell y'all, be dope. Don't come in. Don't come in with poor technology. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're doing it in a darkly lit car, using your phone. You know what I'm saying? The audio is whack. You know what I'm saying? You got scrunch things in the background. You got me. Be dope. Be somewhat professional in the attempt. Don't never have a topic. Just come in flying by the seat of your pants 3 minutes late with no topic. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's for Queen, because if y'all don't know, Queen B will tell you if you whack. Like, Queen B will go upside your head, and she has the right to do so because she has a dope product. I mean, the name of it is dope. No pun intended.
Appreciate it.
So, hey, everybody, we're gonna get out of here. Hey, y'all have a good Friday and a great weekend. The both of us have things coming up, and we want to get everybody involved. We know training camp, everybody, is I think less than a month away.
Yes.
So not only get excited and inspired, but get ready. We out of here, y'all. Peace.